Here we have a very bent shift shaft for a YZ250. So we're going to replace it with a brand spanking new shift shaft. Probably going to say that 100 times in this video. Shift shaft. Okay, first we need some stuff, and the first step in building anything on a motorcycle is to bring out your manual. Next we need some parts. So here is a new shift shaft, the spring, the spacer, and the washer. We'll also use some gaskets. You won't see me install these until the next video, because in the next video I'll be replacing the primary drive gear and the clutch on this YZ250. We'll also need some gear oil to keep everything all lubed up, and just as well we will use some super lube. The first step here is to pour some gear lube out into the bottle cap and smear that all over our new shift shaft, as well as the spacer. So with everything lubed up now, we can install the spring. It's important to note that the spring has a bend in one side. We want to line that bend up with the longer side of the bracket of the shift shaft. So that's what I'm doing here, sliding it over the spacer, and then we'll use a screwdriver to get it seated on that plate. And mine's a little wonky here, but then I fix it at the end, get it seated all nice and flush. So get a good look here on how that bend in the spring is facing the long end of the bracket. Okay, so now we have our washer, and we'll put some super lube on that. It looks like I'm kind of running out, but I managed to get some out. Just go ahead and lube that up. And then we'll go ahead and throw it on the new shift shaft. Okay, so now we're down here at the bike. If you've never seen what the motor looks like with the right case off, I'll give you a little orientation here. Starting out with our radiator hose, and then we have this bearing that I'm pointing to now. It's what our water pump rides on. Below that is the primary drive gear that I'll be replacing in the next video. It's attached to our crank. Over here next to it is a transmission shaft, so this goes to the gearbox, and the clutch rides on top of it, but it's invisible right now. Up here on the top left is our kick start shaft, and then down at the bottom is our old beaten down and broken bent shift shaft. So we'll take that out and replace it. So down here is the shift guide, and it has a roller in the bottom that our shift shaft is going to seat on. So we'll go ahead and lube it up. And then we can just slide our new shaft into the slot and get it seated over that roller. So once we get it seated here, we're pretty much done with the shift shaft. So then we can move on to replacing the rest of the stuff in the right side case and eventually getting everything sealed up.